What is up guys, Andy Forestine Runner here, and today we're talking all about the Asics NOVABLAST after 100 miles. So we did the first impressions, we've done the speed test, we've done the long run test, and now we've put a load more miles into the shoe, meaning we've taken it above and beyond 100 miles. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts on how this thing has fared over the mileage, durability wise, performance wise, and my hopes for what it's going to carry on doing after 100 miles. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and first of all we'll start with the wear and tear. So aesthetically, this shoe still looks as good, albeit a little bit muddy and a bit more crinkly in the midsole. Still looks as good as it does when I bought it in the beginning. The upper shows absolutely no signs of wear and tear. As you can see, it's looking, as I said, albeit a little bit muddy, absolutely fresh as a daisy. The top, the upper, the whole system that's going on here has just been fantastic to run in, but we'll talk about performance in a minute. The midsole is doing incredible, and that's something that I was really concerned about with these softer midsole foams that we find. This is the first flytefoam blast shoe out there. I was a little bit concerned that it was going to do what the Rincon did, and it's still got time to do what the Rincon did for me, which was to fade drastically after about 160 miles. I was really hoping this thing would last the distance, and so far, I don't want to jinx it, but so far, so good. The midsole's holding up really well. Again, just a few crinkles here and there, but it's still feeling really, really good. Really, really good. And the outsole, there's not even any signs of wear and tear on any of the outsole rubber. It's just looking as fresh as a daisy. Well, it would do if I cleaned it. But from a wear and tear perspective, it's just holding up so well. So with the wear and tear side of it out of the way, let's talk about performance, the juicy bit, the bit that I really want to dive into with this shoe. So obviously we did the first impressions, which was a bit of a trail run with a bit of tempo work thrown in there to see what the shoe can do. Then we did a bit of a speed test, and of course we've done the long run test. Since then, we took that up to about 25, 30 miles. We've done obviously over 70 more miles in this shoe, and with that, we've combined it with medium long runs. We've done another big long run, did 18 miles on the weekend just gone in this shoe, clocking an average of, I think it was around 6:45 minutes per mile in this shoe, which is absolutely fantastic. It just makes you want to move. And I think, as I said and alluded to in the wear and tear section, performance was going to be a big thing for me with the midsole. Like, it was so bouncy in the beginning. How is it going to fare moving forward? I've got to say it's probably lost a tiny bit of bounce. Maybe that's just because I'm getting used to it. Maybe that's because I'm not noticing as much because it's becoming normal. Maybe I need to wear a firmer midsole shoe and then get back into this shoe and feel the bounce again. I don't know. But on the whole, it still feels as good as it did in the beginning, from my perspective anyway. As I said, we've done another 18-mile long run. We did a 16-mile long run, I think, in the long run test. So it's had two really good long runs out there, and all the other miles in between have been in the ranges of 6 miles all the way up to 12 miles. And the shoe has handled every single thing I've thrown at it. I'm going to make a really bold statement. I made a bold statement in the first impressions. I just went on and on and on about how much I loved this shoe. And I'm going to say it again. This shoe is the best shoe that I have run in. Period. No ifs, no ands, no buts. This is better than the Rincon, in my opinion. Now, the Rincon was 2019 shoe of the year for me. It was just such a versatile shoe. And I think the only thing that this shoe can't do, or I won't use it for, is going to be racing. Other than that, I will literally use this shoe for anything. If I want to wake up of a morning and go out and do an easy run, I would gravitate to this shoe. If I wanted to do some tempo work, I would gravitate to this shoe. Despite the weight, the comfort levels of this thing are through the roof. If I wanted to do a long run, I'm going to gravitate towards this shoe. It literally gives me everything I want from a shoe. So yes, it's a bold statement. 2020 has a lot more months left in it for me to get wowed by another shoe. But is it going to be as good as this thing? It's going to take a lot of beating, put it that way. And there's a lot more exciting shoes coming out in different brackets, speed shoes, racing shoes. I plan on testing a fair few more of them, and I'm excited to hopefully find a new better racer. I'm hopefully excited to find a new better easy run shoe, but it's going to take some beating. It really is. So as I said, from a performance aspect, for me personally, this thing has just not let me down in the slightest. So, to the big question, how am I going to be using this thing moving forwards, and what are my hopes for this shoe? Well, right now that I've got 100 miles in this shoe, I'm putting it to one side just for the moment so that I can now start to put some more miles in the Fuel Cell TC. I'd like to get that thing up to 100 miles, and then I've got the New Balance 1080 version 10, this thing, and the Fuel Cell TC to 100 miles. Once that is complete, and I've reviewed all of the three of them, I'm then going to be gravitating back towards this thing, and I'm going to try my best to ramp up the mileage in this and get it as close to 200 miles as possible. I want to give you guys an update because for me, as I said in the past, I feel like I've jinxed shoes a little bit with the Rincon. After 100 miles, it was doing phenomenally. At that time, I felt just as good as in that shoe as I did about this thing here. I was singing its praises, it was fantastic, and then literally around 160, 170 miles, it just went flat and started giving me pain, and I just could not take it any further. I think I got it to about 230, 240 miles in the end, and I just had to say no. It was just causing pain, and I could not go on any further in it. This thing though, I want to do my best to get the same amount of mileage out of it, and I will endeavour, if I get to 200 miles in this shoe, because obviously I've got a lot more plans to review, a lot more shoes, that if I do get to 200, I will give you guys an update in it. It might take a little bit longer to get there, because I'm going to start to rotate the shoes once I've got the TC to 100 miles. I'm going to get back in the New Balance 1080 version 10 and rotate that between this, but this is going to be the shoe that I'm going to gravitate towards the most. And my A goal for this thing is to get to 150 miles. So if you want to see a 150 mile review, let me know. I don't want to just spam you with reviews about this shoe, but I do feel that with the midsole, it is absolutely key to give you guys the most important information, which is, does it go flat? I mean, at the price that it's at and the price that I bought it for, at the moment, it's proving an absolute bargain and the best shoe, and I get out the front door and it's magic from start to finish. So my hopes and dreams for this shoe is it's going to absolutely continue going forward. It's going to continue driving me on every single run, and it's just, you can see the smile on my face, it's just going to keep that magic alive. I really hope this doesn't end, and I've got to say, if this is the future of Asics shoes, then I'm excited, sign me up. So that's it for today's video, guys, but I do have one last burning question that I want to ask you guys about. Not particularly related to this shoe, but of course kind of is. In terms of shoe reviews, there are so many shoes coming out over the next few months. I'd love to know what you would like to see me try and test out over the coming months. Of course, we've got things like the Beacon version 3, we've got the Rincon 2, we've got the whole suite of Nike shoes coming out, we've got the Asics Meta Racer, we've got the Saucony Endorphin lineup. Just to name a few, there's going to be so many more. I'd love to know, in particular, if there's 2 or 3 shoes that you would really like to get my hands on, because to be quite honest with you, I do intend on trying to get another 2 or 3 shoes over the summer period to test and try out. I haven't got endless amounts of money. I'm not going to be able to buy every single shoe to test. So if there's any in particular out there you'd like me to see, try and test and put through their paces, see how they fare. I'd like to get a racer. The Asics Meta Racer, I've got to be honest, is on my hit list. If you guys want to see that, do let me know. Or if there's another racer you want to see, like the Endorphin Pro, let me know. I do kind of want to be guided a little bit by you guys, because I know you guys get good feedback from what I give you from these reviews, and I get good feedback from you guys. So do let me know in the comments below which shoes you would like me to review this coming summer. So that's it for the Asics NOVABLAST. 100 miles and onwards we go in the shoe to 200. Marching on, fingers crossed, this thing will keep going for as long as possible. That's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, do make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly run content, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Until then.